all you're trying to do is update an application on a computer at your job, and you become the sole reason a company nearly goes under. Sounds almost unbelievable, right? Impossible, even. Well, the impossible became a reality. My name is Caden, and today we will look into how a Fortune 1000 company almost got shut down and held for ransom by a nefarious hacking group. This is a true story from SecurityScorecard's own incident responders, and this is only one of the many incidents that they get deployed to fix up. Brace yourself. After major news came out that this Fortune 1000 company was getting acquired for a hefty sum of money, this put the company in the crosshairs of hungry hacker groups. These threat actors knew that if they could get in, block the company's operations, and encrypt everything, the new owners would be desperate enough and give them anything that they asked for. It's really how that works. So, with that in mind, they got to work. Soon after, a relatively low-skilled threat actor managed to find their way in through an open RDP port. If you're unfamiliar, RDP is Remote Desktop Protocol. This allows users on the internet to log into one of the company's computers and access every resource on their network as if they were just sitting in the office. Open RDP ports on the internet are very dangerous because they allow attackers to use credentials that they've stolen with cheap phishing attempts. Don't leave your RDPs open. So back to the story. Once this hacker got in through RDP using a username and password that they had phished from an employee earlier, they started discovering what file servers and other applications were on there. First, they found a file server with HR files and business plans galore. A couple of hours later, they took the RDP computer off the network and disabled the phished user's account. To complicate things though, as you'll learn later, this customer didn't have an endpoint detection solution or EDR platform, so there were no agents running on desktops, personal devices, and servers to signal hacking attempts. Yet, they luckily had a smart firewall that assisted with the thwart. A little too late though, because some of the data had already gotten out to the dark web. Another thing that they didn't have was SecurityScorecard to tell them a year in advance that this open RDP port on the public internet was a bad idea. First of all, if the company had used SecurityScorecard, they had seen all the application security flaws. Remember that RDP port at the very beginning? Those RDPs would have been closed up in no time because SecurityScorecard would have detected that risk from the jump. It also would have shown the very low endpoint security that the company had. Circling back though, the next thing we know is that the SecurityScorecard first responders, a cybersecurity team, were called upon, and they began their post-mortem, or as they call it, forensics investigation, to understand what happened, what was impacted, and what else could go wrong. Thankfully, the first thing the SecurityScorecard team did was deploy an EDR solution to every computer at the company. Now, the next Monday, before the company could start working on their SecurityScorecard attack surface findings, an IT veteran with more than a decade of experience makes one mistake that nearly took the company down. His work computer broke down, but he wanted to continue being productive, so he went to the garage, dusted off an old personal computer running an old operating system which also had been unpatched for years, and logs into his work email. While flipping through his messages, he clicks on a link to update his TeamViewer remote access support tool, and of course, this was the next trap from the same hacker group that they had just gotten rid of. Our IT user gets phished with a login attempt, and you can guess what happens next. At this time though, his company credentials weren't just any login. They were domain admin credentials in the Active Directory. You heard me right. So installing malware, stealing passwords, creating and deleting users, and disabling security features were now all on the table. This went from crisis diverted to crisis initiated, all because of one mistake. A few short hours later, the now installed EDR tool starts flashing all sorts of red lights. Warning, warning, someone is totally trying to destroy your company, or whatever the warning message was. I'm pretty sure it was that one. When the incident responders team arrive, they're seeing signs of the hackers going full throttle. New users are actively being created in the directory. At this point, it's all hands on deck. Workers from all over the company and the world are on a call. People are shouting over each other, trying to ensure that everyone is kept up to date on the whereabouts of this nefarious hacker. At one point, the CSO is screaming about how screwed they are. The tensions are high, anxiety is through the roof. Is it even possible to salvage a situation like this? While it may have seemed like all hope was lost, the company didn't go down without a fight. It was essentially a game of whack-a-mole with the fake users that were being created. To make matters worse, the hackers had automated the user creation. They deployed a Cobalt strike on 30 different servers all over the world that ran scripts to create a multitude of users and especially create chaos. Anytime a new user was disabled, 3 more popped up. The hours started flying by. 1 turned into 2, turned into 3, and so on. Luckily, the situation steadily got more in control of the company as opposed to the hackers as time went on. As the SecurityScorecard incident responders orient themselves, they analyze the forensic logs and come up with a brilliant idea that saved the company. They began to geofence certain countries to see if that could prevent the traffic, and bingo. When Brazil got geofenced, the traffic dropped significantly. Not fully, because there were other servers with Cobalt strikes in other countries, but the hacker group happened to be based in Brazil. Control was regained of the situation, and the company stopped the hackers. Workers from all over the world staying up either super into the night or well into the morning could finally breathe. The hacker was out and done for. Shortly after the dust had settled, the hacking group took to their dark web page to show off all of the things that they had gotten from this company. They revealed short samples of the illegally obtained HR files from their first attempt, and some of the business plans. Some of the files were encrypted, some were in clear text, but the good news was that the hackers couldn't spend enough time on the network to dig deeper and hunt for other data. Still though, these short samples included customer names and their customers' internal information, such as pricing of their products, yet they were not super confidential. This was enough for the company to lose several of their customers. They lost their trust in them because of their security posture. Now, let's talk about how SecurityScorecard could have assisted with this entire fiasco, and most importantly, how it could have been prevented. But before we go there, EDR is basic. Do not just rely on your firewall to tell you that something is already being exfiltrated. Being without EDR is like trying to navigate through a minefield of malware without an antivirus program. You might get through, but what's stopping you from just using the tools at your disposal? Circling back though, how could SecurityScorecard have prevented this? The SecurityScorecard services team, the same team where the incident responders work, provides a white glove service where experts would have worked with this company to identify every risk on their internet attack surface and address them permanently. And ultimately, being ready as a security organization is what matters. As your company grows, your attack surface will start to show new issues. Being ready means that the security team is ready for the challenge. Prevention first focus, security operations in place, and having a plan for a breach. And to be ready, our incident response team offers a tabletop exercise service where we cover the entire domain of security. We sit down with the leaders, with the team, ask them questions, play out their current security readiness through simulation, hence the name tabletop exercise, and guide them through a plan that enables them to be a step ahead of their adversaries. There are too many nefarious hacking groups out there that want to cause harm to businesses. Overall, this entire situation could have been avoided if the company had employed these measures. At the end of the day, we want to help companies from being infiltrated like this. Hopefully, you were able to get some deeper insight into how SecurityScorecard can and does protect enterprises from all over the world. My name is Caden, and thank you for watching.